Tell me your funny college story. Story 1. Here's mine. I was doing an assignment that was due in 30 minutes in the library. 5 minutes left. I quickly print my assignment, write my name on top and hurry to class and turn it in. Few days later, my professor emails me saying that my assignment was identical to another person and that I will be getting a 0 for the assignment. I was like WTF. Because I don't talk to anyone in the class and I knew I didn't cheat. So I said okay, I will talk to you in the next class. So in next class, me and this girl stay behind and the professor hands us our assignments. And they were exactly the same. Apparently she printed hers in the library before me and I guess she printed an extra, and I accidentally picked hers up and just saw the top and assumed it was mine, lol. But luckily, the assignment was 2 pages and I somehow took her first page but my second page. So that kind of told the professor that I didn't mean to cheat, since we each wrote about a different topic. I was able to print mine again and turn my assignment in, lol. Story 2. We have a piano in our commons on campus and every few days I sit down and play for 10 to 15 minutes. One day I'm doing my thing and when I get done, this guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey man, great job. I love listening to you play." And I say, "Thanks dude, I appreciate you saying that." And he says back, "Yeah, I actually just broke up with my girlfriend because she wanted to leave and I wanted to stay and listen to you play." That was an awkward moment for sure. I told him that was a bad idea but he just shrugged it off and left. I was laughing all the way to my next class. Story 3. A lot of my stories are either inside jokes or really inappropriate, so I'll settle for this one that happened a couple of months ago. So this apartment company I'm renting from is your typical slumlord agency. Whenever I have the opportunity to tell people that go to my school to avoid them at all costs, I do. Not only have I been paying on average $60 for water every month, they lied about promotions, and every time I put in a service request, their employees would leave mud on the carpet and not clean up after themselves. So around Christmas time, they send out a mass email talking about a Christmas wishlist giveaway. All you had to do was put some random wishlist items down. So, me being the smartass I am, I put down a variety of items as a joke. An all expenses paid trip to Europe. Your employees at least put bags over their shoes and not track mud all over my apartment. Also have one of them dress up as Santa and give me $500 for the time I spend cleaning after them and feeling paranoid when my stuff was moved out of place. Spring tuition and fees paid for. A microwave with $1,000 stuffed in it. Non-perishable food to give to the pantry, and also $1,000. $500 Target gift card and a bottle of eggnog. Paid storage unit for 5 years so I can put all of my extra shoes and clothes in there. Or maybe I'll live in there. I completely forgot about it until a couple of weeks later, I got an email from them saying that they will be giving me one of the items on my wish list. I am completely bewildered because all of my responses were expensive jokes. So I went about my daily life until one day I walked into my apartment after work and saw a neatly wrapped box 24 inches by 12 inches. Not gonna lie, a small part of me got a little excited. I ripped open the present to find a microwave. With a little hope left, I opened the microwave to see if there was any money or checks. Nope. I honestly felt like I got rickrolled as I looked up at the built-in microwave above the stovetop that came with the apartment. I ended up giving the microwave to a friend who wanted one and having a good laugh about it afterwards. TLDR, the slumlord apartment company that I'm renting from gave me a bucking microwave as a joke for Christmas. Story 4. This reminds me of a college story happening last semester. Before I start, obligatory mobile user. To start off, every year by college grants Christmas wishes to students a week or so before fall semester ends. One year, they gave away full paid scholarships, free parking spaces, etc. My Christmas wish was to put a pasta bar in the cafeteria since my college doesn't have the best cafeteria food. The reason I specially put this was because I heard they had a pasta bar there before I was a student, which I really wish they had kept. Anyways, we get to the Christmas chapel and my name is the first name called. I was so excited they chose me and the room was so loud I couldn't hear what they said, but they basically said that they can't grant me my wish, but they have something better, which was 2 plates of pasta for me and 1 person to eat while they give the rest of the wishes. So I chose the first person I recognized who really wanted pasta, and we sat on stage eating cold spaghetti that had some weird kick to it while the college gave the rest of the wishes away. The best one being a Mac laptop. I'm bummed the pasta bar wasn't added cause everyone would enjoy it and it'd save the school money by having pasta and not the weird food normally at the station, but still a funny experience. Story 5. Was in the dead of winter and I was leaving the gym on campus. Beside the gym is the only significant hill on campus and I see 3 drunk girls at the top all on high heels and skirts. So, I'm just watching them when they all decide to sit down on the sidewalk. Have you ever watched the Winter Olympics when the athletes perform the luge event? This is what the girls were doing. One of them was carrying a skateboard and they all got on it like it was a luge. Well, they go down this hill at a whopping 5 miles per hour, digging their heels into the ground the entire time. They get near the bottom and completely eat it. 2 girls are on the ground crying and the third is to the side throwing her guts up. They finally collect themselves after a minute or so, look at each other, and walk right back up the hill to do it all again. There was a girl who was also leaving the gym who saw the whole thing. We just looked at each other to make sure we weren't losing our minds and then went on our way. Story 6. Spent the first night of university in the drunk tank after tackling a mascot and proceeding to square up with each other right in front of a squad car. Stayed the full night in the slammer with a dude in a shark costume. He was a pretty cool dude honestly. Story 7. I, too, spent my first night at college in jail. Went to a party with my derelict brother, who I foolishly roomed with as a freshman, and drove home about midnight BC. I wanted to be ready for class. An hour later, I'm standing in our living room eating a bowl of cereal, as any tipsy college student would, when I notice police lights flashing outside our window. Look outside, and see the campus cops with my bro pulled over in the driveway. Cop told him, walk a straight line, and pointed at a crooked crack on the street. He started arguing with them, and the cop said, alright, put your hands behind your back. Here's where abrupt chaos starts. My idiot brother takes off running. Yo, my dude, you're parked in front of our house, and you're driving a car registered to you. Cop tackles him and proceeds to punch the shit out of his drunken face. At this point, I go running outside and start screaming at everyone, calm the buck down. I told the male cop to stop punching my brother, and I told my brother to go with the cop. Cop stops punching, brother calms down. But then my brother screams, get their names. So I run inside and grab a pen, paper, and flashlight, and the cops start wrestling my brother into the cruiser. I come back out and point the flashlight at the female cop's chest. Her partner, who had been wailing on my brother, screams at me to drop the flashlight, and I told them I was merely collecting their info and reminded them that I was the one who calmed everyone's shit down. That's when the male cop throws a full Nelson on me. I outweighed him by a good 70 pounds, and wrestled in high school. I shucked him like a fly. My brother starts fighting the female cop, and round 2 of abrupt chaos breaks loose. Just help me get this one in the car. She screams at her partner. They put him in the back seat, and Mr. Cop puts his boot on the back of my brother's head while Ms. Cop drives to the police station. And then I, being a doofus college freshman, drive down to the police station to see about bailing my brother out. I walk in, recognize the female cop filling out paperwork, and say, I'm here to check on a guy who just got arrested. She looks at me and says, are you the brother? Step behind the counter. You're under arrest. And that's how I missed the first day of college classes. Story 8. So my school building used to be a nun's convent, so OFC we have ghost stories galore, specifically of this old nun who haunts the halls seeking vengeance or whatever. It was during exam week. I was at the library cramming my ass off when suddenly the power went out. A few people screamed and it was out for a few seconds before the generator kicked in. When it came back on, one of the jocks sitting at the table next to mine facing bolted out of there, shouting something about not getting possessed tonight. We all laughed, but then the power went out again and I noped out there too. Story 9. I was taking a shower at night on Saturday and I was about to use shampoo. The fire alarm went off and I made a mad dash to throw on my robe and grab my towel. I flashed someone trying to tie my robe. Luckily it was April and not too cold, but I had to stand outside, wet, all because the theater department went crazy with their fog machine. Story 10. It's move-in day at the dorms. The top floor is the boys' floor, second and first are the girls' floors, and the basement is common space. It also connects to the nearest parking spots, so it's heavily trafficked on move-in day. My boyfriend, myself, and some of the residents' parents are waiting on the elevator on the basement floor when we hear all the way from the third floor, "Ah yeah dog, we're gonna slay tonight, it's gonna be great, we're gonna get some pussy." The doors pop open on the last syllable and a trio of freshmen frat pledge to best look at all of us and turn beet red. If you made it this far, please consider pressing the subscribe and like button. Now continue to the video. Story 11. Once I was going to the bathroom and I wasn't paying attention as I was on my phone. I walked through the door and put my phone down and splashed some water on my face to wake myself up. As I'm drying my face, this dude walks in and is like, "Oh, shit. My bad," and walks out. I kinda laugh at him because LOL, he came into the wrong bathroom. Dude walks back in 2 seconds later, shrugs and goes, "I don't care. If you gotta go, you gotta go." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And as he's walking to the stalls I turn and see a urinal and I'm like, "Oh, shit." Quickly grabbed my stuff and ran out. Funniest part was there was another dude shitting in there and was probably looking through the cracks like, "Why is there a girl in?" Story 12. One time I was in my second semester of nursing school about to go on spring break when the school closed because of a really contagious virus that led to a worldwide pandemic and lockdown. I now have every clinical, exam, project and ATI due online, missing out on 80 hours of patient experience. The funniest part is my BF and I have custody of his 3 kids. They're on online homeschool, 2 are independent enough, but I'll have to basically teach a 9-year-old who just wants to play video games about a math technique that I never learned in school. Being so overwhelmed, my anxiety skyrockets and I actually get less done than I'd like. The hilarity, I can't. The good news is the BF still works. So, we'll make it, I just don't know in what condition, LOL. Story 13. One time when I called up the elevator to go down to breakfast, my friend happened to be in there. Neither of us were fully awake, so when the elevator door opened we both jumped out of our skin and probably woke up that whole section of the residence hall with how loudly we screamed. Also, I'm from NH, but I go to school in North AL. It snowed about an inch in December, and obviously from my perspective it wasn't anything of note. But my friend from Mobile was so excited. I have a video of her literally dancing and freaking out and running through the snow because of how beautiful it was. She'd only seen it a couple times before in her life. Story 14. A lot of these are way more tame. But I did LSD on campus with my ex and then had to call public safety on him when he lost his shit, which in turn got me in copious amounts of trouble, too. Backstory, I had just become an RA and I and hashtag 128079, was in hashtag 128079, living in hashtag 128079, like I was really excited to be an RA at my tiny little college in the South. It was a pay raise and a job I could do in my pajamas. So I wanted to celebrate and I acquired a single tab of Reality Melter and came back to my summer apartment and my boyfriend got really butthurt that I only bought one for me. So I went back out and got one for him. Cool shit. I really honestly just wanted to do it alone and be alone in my dorm finally, but he insisted on taking it with me. Eye rolls, even though I made it pretty clear I wanted some alone time with this. Not to mention, I already was well aware that he is a terrible trip buddy. Anyway, we drop these tabs and finally, I'm itching for a walk in the woods. So we get our shit together and start walking. And he's already acting like there is something coming after him, keeps looking back behind him, has a look of impending doom, acting real uneasy. I had also packed a bowl and rolled a blunt so I could smoke in the woods and just wander around the small town. Let me make it very clear that I am extremely directional on LSD and know exactly where everything is in the small town of Berea, Kentucky, despite my drug-induced state. Little did I know what the next hour would bring because I honestly thought he would be able to handle his shit. So we are sitting in the woods on a bench and I pull out my bowl and we light up. I'm feeling real high after like one hit and so I chill with that. He basically chimneys out the bowl entirely. I think this is where he begins to lose it. He told me he wanted to walk back, so I said okay and started guiding us back. The sun is setting so the woods are getting kind of dark and moody. I'm living for the dark, but he's starting to freak the buck out and then he darts out to this clearing. I get pretty angry and follow him and was like, what's wrong? And he tells me that he saw something in the mother bucking woods and it's coming after him. I looked back at the woods, back at him, back at the woods, and back at him, and said, what the buck are you talking about, and then tried to convince him to just walk with me and I could take him home so he felt safer. Instead, he ran away from me. And he didn't know where to go because he generally lacks directional skills. He was relying on me from the get-go and yet wouldn't even trust me to get him to safety. And he's freaking out now. I even tried to calm him down with a blunt and he threw it and ran. I was genuinely worried. And also pretty bucking mad that he wouldn't just follow me. So I kind of just left. Am I a terrible person? Maybe. But I was getting really fed up with babysitting my boyfriend when I just wanted a night alone. So I get out to the alumni field. Shit's getting melty and I'm finally enjoying myself for a minute until I realize that my ex is still out there losing his mother bucking shit. I was torn. Do I follow the protocol set in place for our ace to call public safety when someone seems dangerous or just let him live it out there alone? Both felt like I was throwing him under the bus. I feel way less bad about it now and TBH would have probably just left him if it was current me, but then I certainly was torn because I cared about him. But because he felt to me to be a danger to himself and possibly others, he was sincerely delusional when I left him. It was kind of scaring me. I called the pub. My personal mistake was reporting it and then sticking around. They would have never known I was on drugs if I had left, or kept my composure. After placing the report call, I was sitting in the field and enjoying myself until I got another call. I thought it was my boyfriend because his name came up. Turns out, it was his bucking mother calling to yell at me about how I put her son in danger. Y'all. YALL, he literally made me go buy him a damn tab. I was gonna do this alone. He could have said no at any time and it would not have hurt me one bit. So anyway, back to me crying like a little baby. Makeup smearing all over my face. Bawling. Was really mad at the same time. So while my waterworks are working at full speed, the pub rolls up and hears me crying and they get super concerned super quick, which is, like, not what I wanted. They seem to start thinking this is a domestic abuse case or something since the call I placed was basically my boyfriend and I got separated in the woods and I don't know where he is and I think he's lost and confused. They ask me if he's been hurting me, if I need help, etc. and finally, it just comes out. We're both tripping on acid. He lost his mind and I left him out there to handle it on his own. Then, they start freaking out. They call everyone. EMS, fire, police. The whole 9 yards for this search team. The search takes, like, an hour. The police officer was surprisingly the only person that was nice to me. He brought me 2 bottles of water and a blanket and was like, you seem to be handling this okay, and I responded, dude, I don't even know what I am doing here right now. And he laughed and told public safety it was in their hands now. Public safety has total jurisdiction for campus crimes. Didn't know until this day, and left and told me to have a good night despite this mess. Other stuff happened too after they found him. It took, like, an hour, such as a trip to the public safety interrogation room in which they interrogated us under the influence of drugs and got nothing really from us because we were on drugs. But, anyhow, that's the story of how I got fired from being an RA before my job even started and the downfall of my first go-around at college. Hope it entertains someone out there. Story 15. It was Halloween night and I had gotten back to my dorm room and decided to do some late night studying. At about 3 I head to bed but hear some yelling outside my window. My window is by the gate of the dorms and they're right by a bunch of bars, so it's normal for me to hear people yelling. Then I hear the gate open and someone yell, I'm gonna buck his ass up. And then I hear a taser go off and I was like, oh shit, someone's gonna get bucked up. Then I hear running and some girls yelling, no Robbie, don't do it, Robbie. The running comes to the section of my dorm, then up my stairs and hear more yelling. Then beyond my front door goes flying the buck in. I stood straight the buck up and locked my room door. The taser is going crazy now, the person is yelling, where is he? Like bucking Batman. I'm like WTF. I end up going to go check it out and Robbie is gone, but like 5 random people are in my dorm except for one who I know because he's part of the group my roommate hangs out with. Ask him what's going down and said that Rami. The whole time I heard Robbie, who could have been anybody, but it was Rami. He's part of the friend group, so I was like, oh okay. Roommate likes to talk shit, but so does the whole rest of the group. Right as the people left and I was closing the door, my roommate was coming back. I was like, hurry and get the buck in here. As soon as I get the door closed I was like, you might wanna lock that and do it for him. I turn it and boom, Rami kicks the buck out my door. I'm just dying of laughter and my roommate tries to calm him down through the door by calling him a pussy and a bitch. He ended up filing a police report, lol. Story 16. Haha, I remember freshman year I had a very loud portable speaker and an oversized traffic cone which the speak happened to fit in very nicely. I found when the speaker was inside the cone it amplified the sound 10x, so it was insanely loud. My dorm had occasional PA announcements that started with a little 3-ding chime tune that I found online, so I used iMovie and created a recording that's started with the chime then said, "Attention all residents of my dorm, there is currently free pizza in the lobby. Bring your student ID and come on down for a free slice." I would put my traffic cone with the speaker out in my hallway and everyone would open their dorms up and sprint to the lobby where the desk attendant would have no clue what they were talking about.